What's up guys, this is GoMan5000 back for another action figure review, and I don't know if I saved the best for last. I don't think that's the case, but nonetheless, part 4 of TMNT Ultimates Series 3, this is April O'Neil. As you can see right now, it's just a brown box, and then on the back it's plain with a barcode. As she should be, she's in the heroic green color. You can see a nice looking April face on the actual artwork there, and we'll see what it looks like when we get inside. But I like that face in the middle there, and you see actually the cameras on the side as well. On the back is the TMNT logo. We'll do a little bit dramatic. We'll start from the back. Just got to shake the figure out of the slip cover. And here we see April O'Neil, the TV news reporter and the Turtles' ally. And we're going to go ahead, slow turn, for the big reveal of April O'Neil. And seeing it in person, actually, not as bad as I thought, and especially looking at these alternate heads, but definitely something's up with this figure. We're going to get a closer look. I do like all these camera pieces and even this pistol here. So let's go ahead, let's take this figure out and let's do a deep dive on April O'Neil. And here is April O'Neil out of the packaging, and like I said in the Metalhead video, the controversial April O'Neil. Starting out, with the promotional images, it was a bit rough, and of course coming off of the cartoon NECA version, seems like April's kind of doomed as an action figure. But I will say, I think they brought it around. This is a much better figure than I think we were expecting, and I think especially you'll see when I show you the accessories, I think she photographs well. And speaking of accessories, I think this is like the most amount of any of these Super 7 so far, even beating out the Turtles. I had to write down notes for this. So she comes with a pair of fist hands. She's got a pair of open hands for some karate lessons from the Turtles. She's got a pair of gripping hands that's going to be used with her camera equipment. And then, I didn't know this at all, I guess I wasn't paying attention, a pair of trigger hands. And why would you say that? Well, it's because she's packing heat. She's got a fucking pistol. And I mean, it looks like a toy gun. It's not necessarily like a Glock or a Beretta or something, but she's packing heat. I mean, that's a gun. I guess if I was April O'Neil, if I lived in the version of New York City overrun by the Foot Clan, gotta keep a piece, gotta keep a sidearm. So I respect it, but I wasn't expecting it. I don't know if it came with the original toy, but I don't know. She's packing heat, and I was pretty impressed by that. Now I'm going to move into the head sculpts before we get into the rest of the accessories. So she's got the default head here is the red head style, and then she's got two different heads. So one is a brown hairstyle. It's a bit different. It's a bit more smooth, I guess you could say. Different style of the hair, and it's also a darker brown. And then that head, I guess, has a variant, or at least the same hair color, this time with slightly different style, a different expression, and then a headset which is sculpted into the head. And that head is going to go the best with the following accessories. So she got the camera, and this comes included as a camera on its own, and that clips into a tripod. But that tripod also has removable legs, so you can kind of use it as a handheld camera if you want to. I don't know if that was intentional, but you can see I did that here. Now she's also got the Channel 6 press pass, kind of a weak string on this. It's kind of warped, as you can see in the packaging, and it doesn't have enough weight to straighten that out. She's also got a microphone when she's doing interviews in front of the camera. She's got a flashlight for when she's getting into the deep depths of the underworld. She's doing some investigative reporting. She's got two different turtle communicators. So one is the closed shell, and then one is actually an open piece, sculpted that way. Doesn't hinge or anything like that, but it does reveal a nice little image of Donatello, so he could still be part of our display even though we don't have him yet. She's also got a briefcase, and this briefcase, when I was trying to open it, I feel like I was stressing the plastic, and it doesn't really open that well. I don't think it really even stores anything. I guess it could fit the ninja stars, the throwing stars, which I guess is a weird pick, but maybe this is also in her arsenal of weapons when she's walking around by herself. And then this being a vintage-inspired figure, every one of these come with a weapon sprue, and you can see it's got the camera equipment, it's got the briefcase, it's got the piece, and it's got the ninja star. So really loaded up with accessories is April O'Neil, and that's, I guess, understandable. It makes a human character and a female character in a male action-centric line. It makes it more exciting, but you can look at it for yourself. I mean, you can make your choice. I will say, I think the main issue is that her skin tone is definitely way too shiny. I actually like it for the rubber yellow, like, I guess it's like raincoat material, like a jumpsuit, but this I always pictured as like, like a shiny latex type material. But when it gets to skin tone, definitely shiny plastic. But you could say the same thing if you go for the Turtles. Here's Mikey that we just looked at in the same set. Compare him to Raphael from Wave 1, and this is very different from this, and he is a shiny plastic as well. So maybe Super 7 overall is cheaping out on their plastic. We don't know this for sure. Could be different kind of molds or lubricants or something. I don't know how these things work. I just buy them. But, and I know, and I've also seen, you know, you can hit this with dull coats and stuff like that, but I'm not that experienced, and this is a $50 plus figure. I don't want to go customizing it in any way, so I'm gonna have to deal with it. But that is like my main complaint. There is one more complaint: the loose leg. And particularly, I feel like it's always the left leg, but look at that, right out of the packaging. That should not be happening. If I grab any figure off my desk, here's the Red Skull. Not happening. Here's Baraka. Definitely not happening with the McFarlane toys. And with this being more than double the price, I think this is kind of unacceptable. I don't understand exactly what's going on here. This is kind of like a rubber diaper piece, like a McFarlane here. You could tell when you try to move the figure back, so maybe there's just not enough holding this in place, but something's got to give. This isn't right. But head sculpt, the face, not bad. I do like the face on her, and I think it's even better on that alternate head, especially the one with the headset. I maybe will end up going with that. Only issue with those other heads is that I don't like the dark brown hair. I guess that's how she looked in the original Mirage comics, but if you go with April O'Neil, iconic, this is it. I don't know what the relationship of those alternate heads is with vintage toys. Maybe there was a variant that had darker hair, like a running change, but I definitely prefer this color. Otherwise, I mean, paint is where it's supposed to be. A little bit of bleed actually for the white belt that goes around. I do like the Turtles logo. That's a very clean looking decal on the back there, and that's right out of the vintage toy. Also like the blue stripe going down. I don't remember seeing that in the cartoon, but I'd imagine this was made on the toy to make the toy more interesting of a design. That's just kind of design philosophy, and even the pockets kind of break up that blue line, so it's just a point of interest to look at. Otherwise, solid yellow outfit, white boots tucked into the pants there on the back. I mean, sculpt, everything like that is nice. Just some shiny plastic, even some highlights here. You can see the dark orange. Now we'll go over articulation. I haven't really moved her around much yet, so you're gonna learn with me. For the head sculpt, not looking up at all, and I didn't expect it to. Does look down more than I thought, and not a lot of side to side. So basically this is good for a swivel with a slight forward movement. Same thing in the torso. You just get a swivel where the belt is, and this is nice. I mean, it separates the articulation, you know, it doesn't break up the look. So this was the point to put articulation in. I mean, even when you look at a character that should be posed around like Shredder, they don't want to break up the torso, or at least with the Turtles. I feel like with Master Universe Classics, with the wrestling figures, they're gonna have, you know, the ab crunch. So for whatever reason, Shredder doesn't have it. None of the Turtles do. None of the figures in this line, I think, have had an ab crunch. When you're getting to the arm, there's no bicep cut either. This is kind of like 50-50. Some of these figures have bicep cuts, some of them don't. Usually it's the larger characters like Bebop and Rocksteady that didn't have bicep cut, but here it's April O'Neil, and I guess, you know, she's less action oriented, so she doesn't need it, but it still would have been nice. Elbow does not even go 90 degrees, hinge and swivel at the wrist, legs are splitting out all the way on April O'Neil. There's a rubbery effect to the bottom half of the torso, so the legs can kind of move around freely. 90-degree knee, or maybe slightly shy of that. No cut at the boot, and I feel like that's a missed opportunity. A little bit of paint rub on the boot, and then a decent ankle rocker. And that does do it for April O'Neil. So now let's go ahead, let's bring in some other figures, and let's do some comparison. And it only seems fitting to put her with the Turtles that we have so far. And the same thing happened to me with Metalhead. I put this new figure with the Turtles, and I like this figure a lot more. A limited April O'Neil, but put her next to these Turtles, and I think it works, and it makes her a better figure, if that makes any sense. And I was gonna say that April's the first human character in the line, but that's not exactly true. Obviously, we have Shredder, Hiroko Saki, underneath the helmet, and you can see he scales pretty well for like a male to a female figure. And then the foot soldier, I don't know if you want to count him as a human, because sometimes the foot is robots, like in the cartoon, but I don't know about, because the original comics, they're humans, I think, and then the toys are more their own thing, but they're more rooted in the comics, at least at the start. So I don't know, but the most human looking characters are here, and so this is all them together. And then we'll go kind of largest to smallest. We got Bebop, and then we got Splinter. I think, you know, Splinter and April go hand in hand. They got a good rapport. They're kind of the family of the Ninja Turtles, you could say. And then Bebop, he's the big monster, so she's somewhere in the middle there. And then here she is with the cartoon Rat King and Vernon. I just got this set in the mail, so I figured I'd bust them out for this one. All human characters and all scaling pretty well, but obviously the art direction, the style of the figures is wildly different. With the movie line, this is the original Shredder and Casey Jones. So April and Casey obviously hand in hand, and this kind of works, but also kind of doesn't. I mean, this is a realistic human. This is a shiny plastic toy. But in terms of scale, everything works. And then finally, the comparison you've all been waiting for. This is the cartoon April O'Neil. I don't remember what I said about it when I reviewed this figure, but just really not good proportions on her. Doesn't look anything like the cartoon. I would argue the Super7 looks more like the cartoon. And this makes the NECA kind of look like a small, weirdly deformed child. So definitely glad to have this new one. I think that the NECA figure is doing a good job at making me like the Super7 more than I thought I did. Because I guess I'm realizing it could be much worse. And overall, that is going to do it for the gun-toting April O'Neil. And overall, I think it's good. I actually am surprised at how much I like the figure. I thought she would be my least favorite, but that's going to have to go to Metalhead for this wave, for wave 3. Nothing against Metalhead, but he's just not as important as the other characters here. And April somehow triumphantly became a good figure. I mean, if you look at that original image, kind of scary looking, but they really turned it around. They did something to her face, and suddenly it's a better figure. Obviously, there's a lot of issues. There's limited movement. There's shiny plastic. But looking outside of that and issues that kind of plague the whole line, there's shiny plastic on this whole Series 3. There's loose joints on all of the figures from all 3 series so far. So really, when you look at April as a figure in the line that we have so far, it's good. It works, and I'm happy to have it as part of the collection. She makes the collection feel closer to complete. As always, I'm going to be taking some images, and you know she's going to be packing heat in a lot of those. And this is probably maybe how she'll be on my shelf. Maybe I'll rip the pistol off of her weapon sprue, and she can dual wield. She can go guns akimbo on the Foot Clan. You can see the rest of my library of figure photography on Instagram, scoopman_5000. And until next time, I'll see you guys in the next action figure review.